everybody. Welcome to Inside Hollywood with Jazzy Bell. I'm your host, Jazzy Bell, and I'm going to be joined today by a beautiful starlet. You know, we are representing New Hollywood here on this show. Y'all probably recognize her from being one of the stars in Starz hit show P-Valley. Listen, she doesn't need an introduction. I want to call her Autumn Night, you know, sounding all poetic and shit.
Yes, all poetic and shit.
So we are here with Elarica Johnson. How are you, Elarica?
Oh, I'm so good, thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so excited. I don't know if you were seeing as the show was airing that I was doing the Vibe after show for Vibe magazine.
Yes,
so
I heard.
Yeah, so I had the privilege of talking with all of your castmates, I want to say, most of them, alongside the creator, Katori Hall. So I've been dying to sit here and chat with you as well. So thank you for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, let's get into it. What a lot of people don't know is that you're originally from London and you're in London right now.
Yes.
So I know they hear the accent and I know they're really shocked. So first and foremost, talk to me. How was it or been growing up in South London?
Damn, I mean, this is home. Home is home. So I am completely in love with my comforts. You know, London is everything to me, and I love it. Like bringing people from the States, like friends of mine and stuff. I like to show them around. I'm really proud, you know. And then so to leave London and come and join ATL and spend time there and eat the food and feel the vibe. It's like two different worlds completely, but what a fantastic experience. And I mean, just to live in the world of the pink, which is so different to anything that I've ever experienced in my life, was incredible.
Yeah, speaking of experience, because we're going to get to the pink and P-Valley, but just to tap more into you being from London, what was it like for you as far as young and growing up and aspiring to be an actress? Who were some of the starlets that you looked up to?
I mean, you know, there's a lot of schools here. There's a lot of after school activities and stuff that I did when I was younger. And what was really nice, there's a place here called the Brit School, which is like, you don't need a scholarship or anything. You kind of audition, and if you're good enough then you get in, which is fab. And so I went on a whim, and they thought I was good enough, so that was a great time in my life, because it was about 3 years of being able to really kind of hone in on the acting side of things and kind of find out what type of actress I wanted to be, and therefore, you know, what I would be. So that was nice. I had a lot of support, and I was very lucky to go to the school. But I watched movies as a little kid. I was obsessed. So when I was really small, I was obsessed with Annie, which obviously we've seen the remake of recently, which is fantastic. I felt like a kid again, you know, watching it and singing all the songs. But I did like musicals, and then I fell in love with Angelina Jolie and Kerry Washington, and just like, you know, it's amazing that we have those kind of people to look up to and see the incredible work that they do, because then we can at least find a way that we can reach that place, you know?
Absolutely. Now, speaking of reaching a place, let's just get to the pink. How did you acquire this role from London and auditioning and actually getting to be Autumn Night? Talk to me about that.
Man, I mean, this is the norm now, right? A Zoom call, it's the norm. But because I'm in London, a lot of the auditions that I do are via a tape. So I'll tape myself, send it through, the casting director will have a look. I might get notes or whatever, and then I'll redo it and send it. But it was different this time. I did a Skype call. So my audition was on a Skype, which was so bizarre, because I'm in my bedroom, obviously, trying to make it look, you know, presentable for this incredible writer. As we know, Katori is absolutely wonderful. And I had read her script, and I was so nervous to meet her, let alone meet her in my bedroom. It was just, it was odd. It was an odd situation, but it was what we needed to do. And yeah, and I booked it via Skype, which is, it was definitely new to me. It's the first time, but hopefully, you know, there'll be more times with this whole Zoom situation.
Yes. So what was the audition process like? I mean, I know you just explained like the whole Skype situation, but As the people out there know, you play a stripper, an exotic stripper, I'd say, to make it sound a little more fluffy. And I know you was nervous to be Katori, but I mean, did you have to be in full stripper gear? Like, how was that for you? How was that process?
Man, what I loved about Autumn, and obviously reading and seeing all these other incredible characters that were strippers, is that Autumn wasn't. She was never a stripper. And so it meant that I could learn with her. So as she learned, as the show went on, I could learn, you know, the pole stuff. I didn't have to be great and fantastic at the beginning. I did work hard, but the other girls definitely worked a lot harder because, you know, they had to spend more time on the pole. But as the actual experience for the audition went, there was one moment where Katori said, right, I didn't know it was going to happen. She said, okay, we need to see you dance. So can you put some music on? And I just, you know, she's so nervous. I'm like, okay, what can I do? So I'm thinking I just got to pull out all the stops and just get down. I need to twerk. I need to do whatever I can. So I like hitched up my top a little bit and like I had little shorts on and I pulled them up a bit just so I could get the jiggle underneath. Put on a bit of Cardi B and danced for my life. Honestly, it was the weirdest thing, but I guess it works a bit.
Shout out to Cardi B. Listen, your other castmates said the same thing. They played some Cardi B. They talked about how they, you know, the process for them and the dancing and all of that, and how somewhat comfortable and uncomfortable they were. So thanks for sharing that experience. Now, you get the role. Talk to me about the call. Yes, you are Autumn Night. And who was the first person you told the news to?
Who was the first person? Oh, that's a good question. I've been asked the same questions because of press over the past how many months, and that one hasn't come up. So I've not had to think about it. Who did I tell? I think it was one of my best friends. Yeah, it must have been either Nicole or Tanisha. It was one of them. Yeah, that call was just like, it was a quiet one. It wasn't even like, oh my God, guess what? It was like, hey, you okay? Because I was still trying to process it. Like, what did that mean? Like, I've just signed a contract and I'm gonna play a stripper and I'm gonna be naked. How do I even feel about that? So it was a whole load of feelings, but it was, yeah, definitely nice to kind of let friends and family know.
Yeah, shout out to the sisters, your homegirls. Okay, cool.
Oh, yeah, I honestly, I don't know how I survived. Like, if I didn't have them, I don't know how I would have survived.
Yeah.
They're great.
What a lot of people don't know, you've already had, you know, built a name for yourself in London. You know, you've been in stuff as far as like Harry Potter. I saw that you was on there and you was working alongside Ryan Gosling. What's the name of that project?
Blade Runner.
Right. And now, was this your first US gig? I mean, as far as in the US?
Yeah, I mean, series wise, yeah, like, and being over here, everything else that I've shot, even if it has been like a Hollywood type production, I've done that in Europe, and that's great because it's like around the corner for me. But this is the first American gig, and I didn't expect it to be something like this, something as brilliant, you know, something that really says something. I mean, when you come to America, you hope to get something that gets you out there, that people can kind of notice you in, so that you can get something better and then better thereafter. But honestly, this for this to be the first thing that I do, like, I do feel really proud because it's done all right. I know it's done pretty good.
Are you surprised by the outcry of support from the fans?
Man, the fans are incredible. Like, wow. I've never experienced it. What I have, like, I've done series and films that, you know, were adapted from a book. And so they had a fan base already. So I've experienced what that was like. But this is like nothing else. Like, I honestly, like the love that we get constantly every day till this point, of people just being really dedicated to the show and the characters and the writing. It's incredible. I was surprised, not because I didn't think it would do amazing, because it's an amazing script and it's been written so well and the characters and the story is just brilliant. But you just never really know. There's so much content out there and people like all types of different things, that this was so specific and it was something new that a lot of people hadn't seen before. And so you're kind of sitting on the side and you're like, it could do really well. People might not get it. It might not reach the masses. But honestly, Starz have done amazing. And you know, because of the audience and the love, we got season 2. So we're over the moon.
I mean, everyone loved it, from, you know, Snoop Dogg to 50 Cent to everyone was posting about it. I wonder for you, who was the most shocking for you that you were surprised that was a fan of yours because of this show and that reached out to you and was like, you're killing it? Did you get any of that?
Oh, I got so much. I was like, oh my God, look who's in my DM. Oh my God. And I, you know, I'm not
Elarica, give us one. Give us one. You ain't got to read the DM, but who was it?
I definitely won't. But no, you said it. Like Snoop, I swear to you, like, he has been so supportive for, you know, since the show started all the way through. Yeah. And you don't think like someone like that can support the show and write about it and say, this is great, but you don't think you're going to get a message to say, yo, you did an incredible job. Like, I love the show. Like, it's amazing because we feel like that all the time when we watch stuff. You know, there's things, I don't send messages like that, but there are times where some of my peers are doing stuff, or there's certain actors or actresses that I follow and I'm like, this is incredible and I want to write about it and I want to talk about it. Yeah. But to see that come to me and to be in my DM, it's just very nice. It's very humbling and just, it's cool, man. And he's very cool. What the hell?
He's my favorite rapper. Listen, thanks for sharing that. So shout out to Snoop Dogg. Talk to me about what was the most difficult transition for you when doing this, especially being in Atlanta. Were you new to Atlanta? Was that your first time being there?
Yeah, it was my first time. And I spent a lot of time in LA for work. So LA feels like a workplace to me. It doesn't feel as comfortable as, you know, some people might go for holidays and stuff. I wouldn't pick it for that, you know. Yeah. But then I got to Atlanta and there was this calm feeling, like everything's a lot slower and, you know, people, I mean, compared to London, obviously, people have like a chilled vibe and they're friendly and it's nice. So it was, I think, a good space for us to film in. It wasn't too hectic or too crazy, at least. But yeah, you know, if I was to be filming in London, let's just say, there's a lot more things that you have to think about, a lot more things that make filming processes a bit more difficult, but no, it was a nice environment.
As far as the strip club culture, were you well versed in that and being in the A? Because, you know, that's the home of the strip clubs, I would say, you know, as far as the culture is concerned. Did you do any research? You know, did you?
That was the best research I've ever done, to be fair. No, it was brilliant, man. We've got strip clubs here and they're just nothing like that. I have described it on many occasions as Cirque du Soleil naked, because it's a whole show. Like, you're not going just to see someone walk around in circles around a pole. Like, no, you're seeing an entire show. It's entertainment. It's incredible. The women are just insane, you know, what they can do. And I've learned so much because I didn't know anything really at all before. I've learned so much about the world and what it means for the women in the industry, and then also to try and swing on a pole a little bit like how they do. It's so tough but so rewarding. But yeah, I did, that research was great. We went to Magic City and it was just
fab. Come on, Magic City, that's legendary.
Oh my God, it was amazing. I was so surprised though that no one had clothes on. Like, I just didn't think, you know, over here, I think
naked there.
Yeah, everything was there. It was just all out, and then the women were beautiful, and it was just a great experience.
Okay, so now that we've seen the full season, what was your favorite episode to shoot?
Ooh. Oh, there's a few. I think, oh man, it's scenes though, innit? There's so many scenes. So I really enjoyed the car wash scene, which I think is episode 3. so long. But yeah, so this is where Uncle Clifford decides to do a car wash to raise some money to pay the bills.
Yes.
And Autumn just has a freak out in the car, and it was a really fun day because it felt real. Like you had like a barbecue over there, people had drinks, the music was going, and so it was very enjoyable until the moment when I had to get out of the car and it got a bit later and a bit colder and get wet. That wasn't as fun, but I got to slide down the SUV, which was great. I felt like a stunt woman, so I really enjoyed that. But you know, most of the scenes where the cast are together, those were the best times, because Autumn is such a mystery and she's kind of hiding all these secrets.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of time that I spent filming by myself, so whenever I got a chance to be with everyone in the club, I think that was the best.
I love that. As far as Autumn Night is concerned, what was it about this character that made you say, yes, I have to be a part of her and telling her story? What drew you to her?
Man, first and foremost, Katori's writing is
impeccable.
Yeah, like reading, like honestly, having a script, and it's not often that you'll get a script that really pulls you in like that. You're like, oh, I've got to read this to the end, man, you know. But at every page, turning and just wanting to know this world and know these characters. So that was the first initial thing, and then to, you know, meet Autumn so early on and really want to understand her and where she came from. I was left with as much mystery as everybody else watching the show, you know. When are we going to find out what's happening? Where has she come from? What is she hiding? That to me was what I saw was going to challenge me. Anytime I read something or take a role on, I want to feel afraid. And she made me feel really scared, just because there were so many different elements to her and who she was. She was this strong woman who had been through so much and was still trying to survive. And in the midst of it, trying to be normal and not let anybody know that anything was going on. And then also create a whole persona for herself in this strip club and learn how to be a stripper. There's so much going on that I just wanted to be, I wanted it, and I wanted to be great. So
and you were great. We loved it. Now, when it comes to strippers, I wonder, in that culture, what did you learn about it that you didn't know before that you want the audience to take away with? Because for the most part, we just see them naked. We see them on the pole, and they're not usually humanized to the point where it's like, these women have lives, they have stories, they have depth. So what was it for you that you really want the audience to walk away with?
I think we were successful in this because there was no way that you could watch the show and not be involved in the characters. And that's what Katori wanted to do, was to, set it in a strip club with women who happen to be strippers, but they are human beings with everyday life issues. And she wanted to give the audience a look into their lives, just to follow their lives and to see how not so different they are. Because like you said, that, you know, strippers aren't humanized, and even the world is like looked down on, and people have an opinion of something that they don't even get or understand. When really the people that work in this industry are just like anybody else, and this is their job. This is what they do. This is how they pay their bills. They are still humans. They you know, still think and feel the same way that we do. But on top of that, they are athletes. They're fantastic at what they do. It's not easy. It's not easy. I learned the hard way. I thought you had to put like oil on the pole so you could slide around it.
Ooh, I've been scared to bust my ass, Elarica.
I would have done that. And bust my. The only time I've swung on a pole is a crazy night out and I'm just completely drunk and it's just silly. So to get some kind of technique and then to watch these women and, you know, try and do half of what they do, it's amazing. So I think I just wanted the audience to see, and we all did, this kind of keyhole, look through this keyhole into this world that they'd never experienced before, with you know, to put all your opinions aside and just see these women and see this world and relate to it in any which way they can. We all have a story to tell, right? And these are their stories.
And you helping share it. Now, did you get any support from any strippers or any women within that sex work culture that said, thank you for sharing this? Like, I feel seen. Did you get any of that?
Man, yes, I did. And it was very overwhelming, I must say. And I'm constantly trying to, you know, put out little messages out there and say to people, guys, like, I'm so sorry if I haven't replied. Like, I have seen what you have sent, but honestly, the influx of like messages and all kinds of things coming through via email, whatever, it was huge. But and it was amazing, because that's why I do this job. You know, that's why I spend all these times reading scripts, hoping to find the ones that are right, the ones that I can really put my time and effort into and do a good job, so that I can affect people, so that people can see themselves in me, in the character that I'm playing and in the world that I'm in. That's so important. That's what I want to leave. You know, if I leave this world at some point, we all do, because we all die. But my stamp, I hope it's something like that, where I can affect people in whichever way, you know, that needs be, but that I can leave something here, in someone's heart, in someone's mind, and create great work, really. And I'm so glad, again, to have done P-Valley, because I feel like that's exactly what we've done.
Absolutely. You know, we can't wait for season 2, but I'm gonna get on that in a second. Now, you know, just being a woman of color in Hollywood, you know, you hear stories a lot about, you know, some of the obstacles and adversities that they had to overcome. Some people told them they ain't got it. Some people said they would never get it. Some people told, you know, some of these actresses and actors that I've interviewed, you know, you're too dark, you're too fat, you're all of this. What was the biggest obstacle in pursuing Hollywood that you had to overcome?
Honestly, coming from London, and I decided to do as much work as I could over here, just to solidify my space. A lot of the actors in England tend to go straight to the States, make a name there, and then they come back and they work. But I wanted to spend the time in London finding my space, get to know all the casting directors, and do as much work as I possibly could, until it was like, right, I you know, I know where I want to go, and let's go to LA now. So I think, you know, the biggest thing was coming over, and it feels like you're starting again, like all over again. No one really, you know, can see what you've done before. No one really knows, you know, what you've been up to as much. And so it is like going from the beginning. And so I felt that was a bit difficult. You have to meet new people, kind of get to know the casting directors, and see managers and agents. So that was difficult. I think there is so much more opportunity in the States. If I'm honest with you, there's a huge, like, so much more than there is in England. So I always knew that work-wise, there would be a lot more scripts that were more suited to myself than there was back over here. So yeah, I think the thing that I struggled the most with, I guess, was the feeling of starting again.
Yeah. As far, was it difficult for you in London because you were a woman of color? Were the opportunities there?
Yeah, there's less opportunities, you know, and therefore, hopefully you can have someone on your team who's just like, well, it doesn't matter if it says, you know, pale skin or Caucasian or straight brunette hair or whatever, we're going to send you to it. Because, you know, the whole idea of blind casting is that actually the person who is right for the job is right, regardless of what they look like. But certain stories in England are told way more than others, so it's difficult sometimes to get certain scripts. But again, I to say that I've done a huge amount of casting in England in the past few years, not hugely, just because there's so much work coming from the States. But yeah, it's I mean, we're working on it, right? The industry's working on it. We're telling more stories, you know, and people are seeing different kind of journeys and characters on screen. And we want to see that now way more than before.
Yeah. Did you have people here in the States that you were like had a support system here? Because I know support systems are so important. So did you have like roommates when you came here? Like, how did that work out for you? Did you have a job, a 9 to 5? Like, how was that?
No, so I came for a short amount of time. I prepared myself. I didn't
Okay.
need to get the job. I, stacked up the money that I needed for a couple of months just to, to see how it went, because I don't like throwing myself into something that I'm not entirely sure about.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, let me spend a couple of months, let me test the water and see how it is. And that's how you do it. You come over, you spend a couple of months doing meetings, you meet agents, managers, and do a couple of castings, and you go home and see, once the dust settles, what's kind of come of it. But when I came over to do P-Valley, I did spend a bit of time in LA, and I have friends. I've lost friends to LA because they find it so beautiful and wonderful and just warmer than London, obviously.
Yeah.
So it's nice that I have them over there. Like I get to spend time with people that I care about. So I have a little hub, a small one.
A small one. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, before I let you go, talk to me. Season 2, what's happening? The people want to know. Are you guys filming? If not, when are you? Because our Sundays just ain't the same without the prank.
I love it. It really became like a Sunday thing. Like everyone was like, oh, go watch P-Valley. Honestly, I've been getting the most amount of abuse. Now, I love the fans so much, but the abuse, sometimes I can post something. I can post my food, yeah, or I can post my hair, or I can think I look a bit cute and post a picture of myself, and I get a message, yeah, okay, but when season 2 coming out? And I'm like, oh my God. Y'all are shady.
The shade, honey, the shade.
Yeah, right. But no, listen, we're in a pandemic, and it has caused ripples all over the industry, and it's been really difficult to put a finger on time. And so, for those who don't know, we haven't filmed it yet, because I think some people think we filmed it and they're waiting for it to come out. We haven't filmed yet. No, sorry, but. But we will, and it's coming soon, and the cast are really excited to get back together. We're doing a lot of panels and stuff for award season, and so getting to see each other is really wonderful. But it's building up, and we will be filming soon. I am so excited because everything twisted and changed at the end of season 1, and we didn't really know what the storylines were going to be, because Katori kept the scripts from us at the last and gave them to us at the last second. Really? So we were, that's how we worked, and I think that just kept a realness and a really good, exciting vibe about the show, because we were just always trying to figure stuff out, just like the audience are when they're watching it. So yeah, I think we're all just excited to get stuck in.
Yeah, I had to ask you this before you go, because obviously with the accent, and I don't know if this is a silly question, but like making the change, because down south and that drawl and that twang and that slang, a lot of people are like, I'm from Memphis, I'm from Mississippi. I don't know if they got it right. How was that for you? How did you prepare to actually get that down?
Katori talks about slanguage. This is like her putting together all these dialects, really, and kind of creating this one sound, more so for the rest of the cast, and really sitting on the southern side of things, and not being afraid to pronounce things as strong as they sound. Not being worried that the audience aren't going to understand, because you do. There's words that I read and I was like, what is that? Because she writes as the slang is said, like, so it's written like that, so you can say it, but I had to learn. I really had to learn. Accent wise, I am rubbish at accents. It's always like my fear, like, oh man, I can do an American, and that's great, because that's basically, half of the work done. Okay. But the southern side of things, Autumn is supposed to sound different. She's not from this place. She's, arrived, and she's come from Houston. So it was a long journey, let's say, getting everything right, or as right as it could be. But we had amazing dialect coaches on set. Chris Berry was incredible. And it's just the support, really. That support was everything, because it just meant that going and doing my job, I didn't have to think twice. Like, I didn't have to be like, oh my God, my accent, and oh, I've got to do this incredible, like, emotional kind of scene. It was like, okay, I'm cool with the accent and I can just do what I need to do. But I think it worked a bit. I guess people are British, so.
No, we did not.
No.
When I saw interviews of yours, I was like, oh my God, the accent is so adorable. I love it. But it's a testament to your talent. You are an amazing actress. We're looking forward to more work from you. Of course, you know, the fans are looking forward to season 2. So we can't wait till you guys get back out there in the A and do your thing. My last question for you. What is your favorite song to twerk to? Now that you have lived a life as Autumn Night, I know you have to have a favorite song there is to jiggle to. What is it?
You know what? I think we all could tell that all the girls have different styles of dancing, right? And especially I have to sit with Autumn here, because Autumn is like the sensual, the slow twerk, the little whine, you know, that was more her vibe. You know, Mercedes was more like, you know, Meg the Stallion and Cardi B. But I lived with Summer Walker, Girls Need Love Too. That was my favorite. So anytime we had the scene, right, it was just slow and sexy. Everyone was like, why is Autumn dancing the same all the time? Well, that's what she knows. That's how she's doing it. And that will continue. Okay, you can get the booty shaking from Mercedes, that's fine. But Autumn's gonna whine slow, that's okay.
I love that. If you had to switch a role with one of the girls from Trinity, Mississippi, well, we got Gidget with the pretty ass legs. She was there. And Mercedes, who would it be? Who would it be with all the writing and everything? It was like, you know what? I would love to have portrayed this character just for fun.
Man, you know what? The cast, are so like they're so right for their characters, like so 100% like spot on. But Miss Mississippi, I mean, her outfits, her beat, like her fit, like everything, like the hair and all of that, and then the amazing, you know, sensual dancing that she does on the pole. I'm not coming for your role, Shannon. I'm definitely not.
Yeah. Oh, real quick, were you familiar with the film Players Club starring Lisa Ray? Because a lot of people, I felt, try to compare you to that, because prior to P-Valley, that was kind of the only film that we had that kind of led us into the strip club culture. So
yeah, I knew of it, and it was funny to see as soon as the trailer come out, everybody was talking about it, saying, "Oh, this is Players Club. Like, this is basically Players Club on Heat," or, you know, there was all kinds of like references, and that's all anyone's had. You know, it's not really been done. We've seen strip clubs in film and TV, but we've never really seen inside. We've never really, you know, been with the girls, and that, I guess that's the only reference that anyone had. So yeah, it's different. It's very different, but it's something. I mean, obviously there was Hustlers, wasn't there? But that's a whole different, it's a different kind of strip club, different kind of strippers. So yeah, it was nice that people, it felt like people were waiting for something similar, or waiting for a world that they could be in that was similar to Players Club.
Yeah, especially for the Black culture. I mean, Hustlers is one thing, that's something recent, but like that was like a cult classic for us. Yeah. Did you watch it? Did you get to see it?
No, do you know what? I'd seen little bits of it on the internet. A friend of mine had showed me a while ago. And it was really poor quality, and I was like, babe, I can't watch this. Like, we're gonna have to figure it out. And I haven't seen it since, but it's on my list, and I will be watching. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Why not? I mean, we had Lisa Ray, who played Diamond, the lead in the film on Inside Hollywood, and she's a friend of the show, just like you are. And I think it's so great that you ladies are doing an amazing job. And like I said, continue the great work. Anything else you want the fans to know that's coming up for Elarica Johnson that we should be looking out for?
You know what? COVID had stopped that part of my interviews, because there's not a huge amount to talk about. But, you know, there are things in the pipeline, and I hope that I continue on the journey with the fans, you know, regardless of what happens. Obviously, we want the show to go on for 6 seasons. If it would, that would be incredible, more even. But, you know, like I said, regardless of what happens, I hope that they will come on a journey with me, you know, and just be as wonderful as they have been for the show. And yeah, keep watching and bring all your friends and family to watch, because some people were like, I can't show this to my aunt. Yes, you can, just don't be in the room with her at the same time. It can get a bit weird. I mean, all the nakedness and those sexy scenes, you know.
I love that so much. Again, Elarica, thank you for being here. You're such an amazing talent and such an amazing spirit. I had so much fun talking with you.
Thank you. You too. Thank you for having me. Really, I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, enjoy the rest of your day.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.